I'm Edward Karof Oboto, a lawyer by profession.
I'm Emily Mudhoni Karof, a banker by profession.
And this
is our dream wedding. I come from central part of Kenya, in a place called Mukurweini, that is in Nyeri district. And he comes from Mumias. So way before he used to tell me that I would want you to come and meet my parents. When I was going, I was just praying for God's favor to be upon me. It's not easy meeting your other parents to be.
I decided, first of all, I had to tell my parents about it. That's even before I decided to propose. Father and my mom. And I told my dad that this is Emily, the lady I've been telling you with, and we have decided we want to at least spend the rest of our life together, and I want to marry her. Then the next day, this one now he told me alone. Now that I've decided to marry her, when are you having your wedding? I remember we went home in July last year. And I was telling my dad, probably next year, April. Then said, no. Once you've decided to marry Emily, and the way I've seen her, if you wait, you might lose her. But of course, you're saying that with the light touch. You have to make plans to ensure that probably you marry her this year.
To me, it came as a surprise. First, the time seemed short, and to me, it looked rushed. But he explained it to me, and I thought truly it doesn't make any difference. Me waiting up to April or doing it in December, it doesn't make any difference because the only thing that matters is what have you decided. Have you fully committed yourself to him? Have he committed himself fully to you? That is all that matters. The times and the weddings and the big occasion, all those things will follow, but the decision is what matters.
And I should say, while at home, she earned a lot of credits from my parents and our siblings who were there. And even she became their favorite. So I remember my mom would take her around. My mom would bring her overboard to assist her to cook. And the way she would cook, the way she would prepare the meals and all that. Oh, my mom could come and tell me, wow, this one, she's even doing it better than your sisters. And I think for her, my mom just wanted to grab her at that particular moment and say, wow, we don't need to wait anymore. They became the best of friends.
The best thing is they didn't give me specific tasks that I should do. And that was actually my worry because it's not like I know how to perfectly do their dishes. But the best thing is that I had schooled in Maseno. That is partly Western and Nyanza. So I had learned part of their culture and what they do and what they eat. But I assisted where I could. I would say my mother-in-law is not the kind of a person who tells you have to wake up at 6 and wash the dishes. After washing the dishes, you cook tea for this. No, but I assisted where I can. And I think that is what came out well because she was like my mother. You know, a mother who tells you, if you're tired, I'll do this. If you can assist in this, it's okay. You see? And I think we worked much more as a team, not as a person who wants to show that I know how to do this and I can do it better. No. Yeah.
In our family, having been the firstborn and having all my parents at the same time, I was able to at least understand the model situation of a family and the setting. So I remember when I brought this issue up, of course my parents were concerned. And you take it positively, don't even blame them because they're saying, oh, you say, what are the circumstances probably that she grew up as a single parent? child and all that. Then I remember I told them, for her, actually, she told me she lost her dad when she was 2 years old.
1.5.
1.5 years, at a very tender age. And then they asked, and the mother never remarried? Yeah, and the mother never remarried, and up to now, there are only, in fact, two, her and her sister, and that was it. The challenge came out when I started dating her and learning more. I discovered that even when she will have conversations with her sister and her mom, and me also when I have my conversation on the other side, I'll notice that if I would tell her some things, she was very uncomfortable. Because she would make decisions without involving me. Everything you'll find she has planned and without involving. So you'd wonder, hey, what is not happening here? Then I later on will discover that, the way they've been brought up, there's no father figure in their family. So they've been used to stand for themselves and make decisions by themselves. Unlike now, us, where I've been brought up because you are the firstborn, you have a father, and also your mother will need even to consult my dad also, and even the siblings that you have will need to maybe to consult me and inform me, in fact. Then they'll just do it on their own. And they discover that they do their things differently. Even their sister will do their things differently. And even her mom will do their things differently. In fact, I remember there was a time she was planning something very important, and when you're planning now when you'll visit and how you'll visit, she will even plan everything without even informing her mother. Then I ask her, why would you do that? And say, no, I think for us, we'll just inform them when everything is ready, because that's how we've been doing things. Then I remember at one point I even told her, that's not fair. In fact, to your mom, the way I see it, that's not even fair. You have to involve her. So I began to understand and to try and bring on board that, now you're coming to a different setting. You have a different person. I'm the firstborn, you are the lastborn. It is true, there has been no father figure in your family. This has had a bit of a toll on your upbringing, because you've gotten used to doing things on your own. But at least now I'm here. At least show me, involve me in some of the things you're doing. At the first time, it looked, I was offended in most cases, and I would even tell her uprightly. But when I even spoke to some of colleagues of mine, they said sometimes this affects students, children who have been brought up by single parents. And even remember when we went through the counseling sessions, actually now I was able to understand better. And we were able to be brought up on board together, at least to be at par, and even to understand and appreciate the different backgrounds we had. So at least that was a beginning platform, good for us to understand each other and better for us. And I can tell you, at least we worked over, and at least now things were far much better off for both of us.
I would say being brought up by a single parent is very different from being brought up by two committed parents, because there's a difference between people who are living together and people who are tolerating each other in marriage. But being brought up by my mom without my dad, I think that is what we took. My mom is the only one who was fighting for us. So what we knew is that when you have an issue, it's for you to stand up for yourself as a woman, because I don't have brothers. I don't have a father figure in my mind. I don't have anyone whom I can look up to as a role model and say that this has come out clearly as my father, or a person whom I would engage or ask for advice. No. All through, I think the people who I've had in my life all through before he came into my life are women. So that is why I think I had to make decisions on my own as I've been brought. Because my mom, when I was small, she went through a very hard time, including being thrown out of our matrimonial home, that we had to go live in town, and she had to provide for us all through education, all through high school, university, and she was all by herself. To me, that is what remained in me, that a woman can do it on herself. But it was not an intention to hurt a man or not to open yourself up as a man. But these are things that have been engraved in you since you were small. That is why it's hard for you to bring in another person to help you make decisions, another person to ask for advice, another person to wait upon and to rely on or to depend upon. And that's why I would say that is why we had conflicts at the first time. But later on, after we talked about that, I realized that it's true. I need to open up and realize that this is not the ideal family or ideal world that we ought to live in, and it's not what I would want to give my children when they are being brought up or when they are growing up. And that's when I realized that it's true. He is the head, and as he says, he keeps on reminding me that you need to call your mom. How is your mom doing? Have you told her about this and this and this? And I think I'm doing better. Yeah, and I think I've improved from then, and I'm still opening up to people, and I know he's the head of the family, and his role is well written, and I know I can't make decisions on my own, and it feels better. The burden has been lifted off me big time. I would say when I was alone, or when I thought I would make decisions on my own, you carry a bigger burden. But when you realize that I don't really have to do this, the burden is lighter. And I would say marriage is beautiful, because marriage gives you someone to help you, gives you someone to look up to, gives you someone whom you can trust and depend on. Yeah. I would say for every single mom who knows that she doesn't, especially mothers, they do not have a father figure in mind, or they are not planning to remarry, or they don't have men in their homesteads, because even the men who would come or the men they would bring may not be the fathers to these children, and they may be men who come and go. So these are not the perfect father figures, but the best thing would be take these children to other homesteads whom have got a perfect family setting. Let them see how decisions are made, how these children rely on their dads, and also how they involve their dads in decision making, or even asking for things. Children know that the father or dad in this home is the head of the family. Mom is just a support. And this goes a long way. That is where I would recommend that every single mom seek out for their children, get a person whom they can look up to as a father figure. Either they can take them to relatives who've got a setup where there's a mother and a father, so that this child can learn. As she grows up, she will know that there's an essence, or there's need to have a man in the family, there's need to have a woman in the family. And also, if that is not possible, let them learn from different people. Always acknowledge another person and say, can you see Baba so and so? That is what a man ought to do. So that as this child grows, he knows or she knows that the father figure is an important person in a person's life, because a father gives identity. A father is the priest of the home. A father is the protector of the home. A father is the one who takes the head of everything in the home. And if this child does not know this from childhood, then even when he or she grows up, he or she will have a problem. To me, trusting a man fully or depending on a man fully was optional. It's something you choose to do or you choose not to, because you can do it on your own. You've seen your mom do it. But in real sense, that is not what ought to be. That is, I would say, that took a toll on me. And I think through understanding how marriage works, and through the counseling that we went through, I got to understand that things ought to be different. Yeah. The morning experience was wonderful. I think it's an experience that each and every girl and woman wants to have. I think I had made a decision that I would be happy. When you're outside, everything is cool. Until now, everything is quiet and people are waiting for you to go in. Because it's hard for you to smile and keep smiling when no one else is smiling. And it's hard for you to maintain the smile until you start wondering, am I a zombie? Or because there are times when it comes naturally. I'm told I'm not supposed to look at people. I'm not supposed to look sideways. I'm just supposed to look in front. People in front are serious, and I'm here smiling all over. But I thank God I made it to the front still smiling. But I would say it was a little hard. It was a little bit hard than smiling to people who are smiling back to you, Yeah.
Again, I was able to control my emotions. I just looked at her and I was so surprised. I'm telling you, I had never seen her that way. I had made, as they say, it's a taboo not to see the wedding gown before. So of course I had not seen it before. And I had reminded her that we are trying to ensure that everything we are at least working on should be something that is admirable and something good. Because, getting a wedding gown is very tricky. And I told her, please, because I was the one who was supposed to buy, in our culture, you're the one who's supposed to buy the gown. Of course, you give the girl the money, but you don't see it. So I told her, please, don't let me down. Eh? So I would say that when I saw her in that gown, it was one that I had never seen before. I think I had never seen something like that, and it's so amazing. She was all in white, and with the veil and walking in, and lucky enough for her, she was smiling all through. She was not emotional, she was not shedding any tears, she was smiling all through. So when I was looking at her, this also gave me some bit of strength in terms of comforting myself and just being firm and also overcoming my emotions. Special moment inside the church, and the church, the way it was looking wonderful, and everybody was standing up for her. Of course, when I came in, nobody stood up. It's expected. I just came in when people were seated, but her, it was her day, so everybody had to stand for her. And all the attention was there with all these eyes looking upon her.
It was a hard time for my mom, I would say, more than myself. For my mom, especially when she saw that truly the day has come. And now she's giving me away. It was hard for her.
Mimi mama ya huyu mtoto wangu na furaha sana.
Mom just said, I am the mother to Emily. She tried saying some few words, but she couldn't. But we all understood. She was overwhelmed with the emotions.
Now I've been given to this person. I need to separate myself from my family and now join myself to this one. As the Bible says that you shall leave your mother and father and you shall cling to your husband.
Take you, Emily, to be my wife.
Take you, Ella, to be my husband.
I promise to be true to you in good times and in bad times. The vows, now this is the time I was affirming and touching my heart like this, just to show how much I love her and committing to her. It just came naturally. That's how I said it. I will love and honor you all the days of my life. All the days of my life.
It was a serious moment, I would say, and at the same time a divine moment. To me, it struck me that it's done. I cannot go back. It's a commitment and it's a life commitment.
Sio mwanamke, ni mwanaume anafanya nini? Anaongoza. Lakini ndani ya ndoa ni mwanamume anaongoza, alafu pia anampatia mwanamke anafanya nini? Anaongoza. Tunaelewana?
He actually said that marriage is like a dance. I don't know why he used that analogy, because you equip it in the broad sense of life. So you have to ensure that you are leading your spouse, you are leading your partner in whatever aspect, on various aspects of life. And also ensure that because you're in a marriage and it's a dance, you have to enjoy it together. think that's what he basically meant. I remember asking her, had you ever danced any Skuti before? Because the way she danced, she didn't even look like a Kikuyu. She danced even better than the Luya ladies who do it.
It was beautiful. To me, I would not say that I had rehearsed or known how to dance, but I think it's just the heat of the moment. People are dancing and you got to dance because people are looking at you, and if you don't dance, they won't dance. Or that is what I was telling myself. So I had to pull up my socks. I had to dance with him. And he did well.
These are the weapons that will protect you in your marriage.
The speech that my dad gave, I even didn't expect he'll give that kind of speech. Emphasized on the need that we're coming from very different backgrounds. Them, they have accepted Emily as their own daughter, and also the people should do it like us. And I normally say, in fact, that is the beauty of it all. When you have different cultures coming up together, and then accepting each other, and then celebrating the moment they use. And that is, I think, the things that matter in life. Of course, he gave the Bible for us, but above all, he also gave me a special rosary, the one that we normally use to pray. And from that, my father being a farmer and all that, he had to make it special by giving us a cow. You could see. And since you can't bring the entire cow to Nairobi, of course, he took a picture of that cow, framed the photo, and then, of course, he gave us as a gift on our wedding day. That rosary and the Bible that he gave us, it really touched me in a very special way. I was actually touched, and I cherished that moment, and I forever cherish it.
There is one secret about marriage, and that is communication. And communication has a few principles. If you want your marriage to live well, you must communicate well. And the first thing is communication depends on how the person who is being communicated to responds. If Emily comes shouting at you, don't shout at her. Just be calm, and that will be okay. And that is the first principle.
It's always the small things or the small foxes that come and eat something in your vineyard that makes things fall apart. And that is what I took from her speech.
Wapi makofi ya keki? Keki macho na naona. Oh sweetie, 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 keki ni sweetie. Sweetie, 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 keki ni sweetie.
So when I traveled abroad, I secretly bought an engagement ring for her, and I came with it, and then I had to plan for the proposal. I took her to Masai Mara. She had gone to prepare and take a shower so that we can go down for dinner. That's when I pulled out my ring, and I went to my niece, and I just showed her the engagement ring, and I proposed to her.
I wasn't expecting that that day would be the day that he proposes, even if I knew that one day he will. Because I remember way before, months before, he had asked me that what kind of ring would you want for your engagement? But I didn't know when, I didn't know if he bought, I didn't know when he was planning that he will do this. So when we went there, it came as a surprise, and it was a pleasant surprise.
Hey, I can advise those people who are planning, because you're planning for a wedding. When you make that decision that you want to do your wedding, I think it's advisable you just proceed with the plans. You don't backtrack. I know it can reach a point people start saying, oh, we're not going to manage. One thing I've noticed, and I've spoken with various people, once you make that decision, please just move. Things will fall into place.
In marriage, sometimes there comes things there comes situations, there comes tides, and there comes times that you are high or low. And in all these times, you need to be together. That support is very necessary, and I think that is what I've learned, and that's what I would really appreciate that people do in marriage: support each other and be there for each other. Be ready to get tired of each other, not getting tired in terms of nimechoka, but doing an extra thing for the other person until you say, yes, I've done my best. Because when you reach at that position or at that point, you know that there's nothing else that God can accuse you of. And the other person also will do the best for you. So be ready to get tired for each other.
Coming up next.
So you never taught how to be a